We got it. I think we're in it, fellas. Hello?
Hi.
Everything is great!
Yay! Did you turn it off and turn it back on again?
I sure did. Boy, howdy did I. Laura, I do miss you. That's how we're doing. We said it to each other. I'm not saying it again for the show. It is so great to hear your voice.
It is really good to hear your voice, too. I'm
really
sorry
nice.
This past 6 weeks has been such an utter and complete shit show.
Yeah, listen, you don't have to be sorry that it's a shit show. I was hoisted on my own petard. I mean, we can play back the previous episodes of the show. I've been saying for a long time that you need to put yourself first and give yourself some space. I just happen to be the first victim of that I am aware of.
True. Unfortunately, you just happen to be the only thing that wasn't actually super critical to like the existence of everyone's lives that week.
I mean, my own narcissism tells me that's not true, but I'm not going to deny your experience. Man, so we haven't talked in like 6 weeks.
It's been a long
8
time.
Weeks, like 2 months. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it really has.
I feel like so many things have happened, but our lives aren't tremendously different, at least not yet.
True.
Because you hit me with some news recently that I'm very stoked about.
Yeah, I've got some real fucking change on the horizon here that I'm feeling both excited and extremely anxious about. So it is, do you care if we date and timestamp this?
Not even at all, no.
Cool. It is Friday today, and not this coming Monday, but next Monday, I will be starting an at-home career experience for 6 months, which is very exciting. Mm-hmm. And Eleanor starts daycare on the same day, which is very scary. And also I'm feeling like that's the worst time to start working from home, because then I'm not going to have my support of my friends. I'm not going to be able to go to work and like cry and be like sad about it with people. I'm just going to be like at home with a bunch of strangers over Zoom or whatever.
Hey, I will give you this. I also work from home. So if you need to hit me up, with a panic, oh my God, my baby is having a good time somewhere not next to me. Yeah. I can help you sustain that energy. I offer myself up for that.
I appreciate that. It's just like, so I'm starting my training May 2nd, which means that like, I don't know what the schedule is going to be, but it's not just going to be me like at home doing whatever I want to. Oh, yeah. I'm sure it is like mostly meetings situation.
Yeah. I recall when the pandemic began, and it has still not ended, that when Apple moved a lot of its retail employees to work from home, that the work from home guidelines were pretty stringent for the most part. I
think it depends on what you were doing.
Yeah.
Because for me, my work from home was basically like join a meeting every 3 days.
Well, yeah, I think you were in a position where like you weren't, correct me if I'm wrong.
I wasn't actually doing a job.
Yeah, but like the people who like switched to like doing like service from home.
Yeah.
It was like you are at your desk, and if you leave your desk, we're going to blow up your iPhone battery kind of thing.
That's the rumor that I heard, yes.
Yeah, it's
the iPhone battery thing in particular.
Yeah, no, that's the secret button in the diagnostics console I never told anyone about.
Oh man, I can't believe you're blowing it up on this podcast here. This very popular podcast that will reach millions of people.
I'm far enough removed. Hey, all it takes is one breakthrough day for everyone to listen to everything we've ever said and for our lives to come crumbling down around us because we didn't take it seriously. At all. Right now it's just going to be a few dozen people being like, my iPhone won't explode, and that's what you think.
Yeah.
But no, man, I'm pretty stoked for you. Just because, man, just the not having to like drive to work, the not having to put
really
on
excited
pants, about it makes such a difference. I was a minute
late to yesterday for like some stupid reason. I can't remember what happened. Like I forgot that I had washed my Apple shirt, and so I like left it on the couch, and I had to turn around and go get it. And like that was the thing that made me late. Obviously, there's more than one thing, but I was going to blame it on that.
Yeah, of course.
And I was thinking on the way in, I was like, wow, this is not going to be my life for 6 months. And that sounds great.
Yeah. I mean, I hope for your sake it ends up being longer than 6 months, but there's been some...
Yeah, it won't. It is a very specific 6-month experience. And there is not a job at the end of it. But it is something that they're doing more and more of, and they're opening up to a wider candidacy. So if I like it, I can do it again next year, most likely.
Cool. Well, yeah, because I will say this, the shift to work from home like has empowered me to do so many things that I couldn't do otherwise. To the point where like I've long said like, oh, if they make me go back into the office, I'm gonna quit. I took stock of this recently and I looked at what practical changes I would have to make to my life to go into work. I'm like, I think I would have to quit if I want to. Because like I don't have a car. And also, and this is one of those things. Pandemic shifted a lot of people's mindsets, and this is one of the things that shifted in mine. My entire life I've been like, they want me to come into work, but they don't pay me to get there. Like they only pay me when I'm there, but like the transit, the commute time is very much a part of my workday, and they don't care. But I always shrug that off as like, that's just how it is. And now I'm like, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah, I mean, I thought about that in terms of, so the career experience that I'm doing is sourcing. So I will be basically sourcing through resumes and looking to try to fill open positions in the market.
Yep.
And someone like made a side comment that so many people in this area are just skipping over Jersey stores because you get some sort of a transit credit when you work in the city. And so everybody just wants to work in Manhattan. And like, it's not enough to cover everything. I know that from personal experience, but people are like, do you really want me to pay just as much in tolls and like drive for 2 hours instead of like sitting on a train where even if it's 2 hours, at least I can like read a book?
Like, hey, Apple, do you want to pay my car bill and my car insurance? Because I don't.
And I don't know. I think you're right. I think that's a shift in post-pandemic life that, I wouldn't have expected anyone to pay for me to get to work before. Like, that is my responsibility, choosing a place that is within a reasonable distance, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's not necessarily how people feel anymore.
Yep. Yeah. It's a big shift. So I'm very excited. I am wondering if you will have any like mind-opening, paradigm shifting.
I'm opening for it. I mean, I'm open to that experience. Like people have asked me specifically like, oh, is there a job at the end of this? And the answer is no. But like, if this is something that I really enjoy, like headhunting is a viable career that I could probably do from home. And so if I find myself really good at this and really enjoying it, it is definitely something I'll look at in other companies.
I'm getting a great image of you in like a very fancy business top with a vomiting baby on your shoulder and no pants on with a Bluetooth headset. And I love that image.
I mean, luckily, Ellie is not so much of a vomiting baby, but if I have a second one, I can make no guarantees.
Okay, I've seen Ellie eat. I think Ellie is going to be a vomity human for a very long time if she keeps eating. If like the quantity of food scales with her growth as a person, she's going to hit the limit pretty frequently. She surprised me.
She is not eating as much as she did. Yeah.
She has petered out.
There was maybe 4 months where no joke, she was eating like twice as much as my 230-pound husband was at the time. He doesn't. That was like his max weight. I don't know what he weighs now, like 205, whatever.
But he's very tall. How tall? Is he over 6 feet? I was about to say he's tall boy.
He's very tall, and Eleanor was out eating him by a very significant margin. Speaking of, he started tracking his calories recently because he wanted to get down to his running weight. Running weight. And I have some extra baby pounds that I haven't lost yet, and like I would like not to have anymore. And so I started tracking my calories like in earnest because I've like done the wellness challenges at work before, and I've been like, I'm tracking my calories. I'm just not going to include the 4 bottles of wine that I had, which is, by the way, quite a few calories. And I'm like actually really doing it. And I've already lost 5 pounds.
That's fantastic.
A pound a week, and I'm really excited about it.
That's very nice. I've adjusted my workouts to be a little less intense, and that has helped me finally tick back down a bit. It's not today. I will say today I didn't have the net loss that I wanted, but I also have not used the bathroom yet, so I'm waiting to see what that does. But no, I feel that Rebecca's approach has been following something that is just primarily about adjusting eating habits and eating psychology and stuff, which I think she's passing things onto me that have been very helpful because I'm a fast eater and an overeater. But
I mean, yes, that makes sense. I didn't say it like that.
Yes, of course, we all know this. Continue. But I've had to like push back a bit, like when she like really tries to, because I will say this, counting calories has worked for me strictly in terms of weight loss. Like I know it's a dubious measurement, but like the framework, just like you and Charles, has allowed me to do that. It hasn't made me happy about the food that I eat because I have to eat so little. So there have been some healthy adjustments there, but I think I my progress right now is a little slower than I'd like. I will say, you saw that I had lost some weight last year. I am now, this is weird. I was about to say these words so nonchalantly, but like it feels weird to say them. I am sort of visibly muscular to a degree now.
You've been talking about that for a couple months now. But it's starting to happen. I know you feel weird about it.
It is, but now it's not like, oh, I can see some muscles. It's like, oh my God, my pecs poke out further than other parts of my torso in a shirt. What? And I don't know. It feels funny to say that. I'm not muscular. I've been bouncing back and forth between Assassin's Creed games all week. I'm not muscular. What are you talking about? I just Sherpa'd 3 people through a raid in Destiny. It's weird, but...
Well, I mean, listen, when you're bouncing a lot and you're Sherping human bodies, like, that's a really... a lot of...
I appreciate cardio. You for digging into those metaphors in a way that I couldn't.
I got you.
That's great.
No,
I'm really
happy.
Awesome. I'm happy it's working for you. Just like getting some sense of control over that feels so good after just not worrying about it.
Yeah, and I think I always like pushed back on, because I'm using the same app that we get through work, so I've been using it for like 7 years or whatever. And every time I put in like what I weigh and what I want to lose, I'm always like, that's the amount of calories you give me. Like I'm not a bunny rabbit. Like thank you. But I've actually been finding that, like, I don't need to eat more than that. Like, I've been consistently under.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm not really trying. Like, it's just the matter of, like, oh, I'm just not going to eat a second helping of this thing that is really good. Like, and that's literally been it. And I don't need it. Like, I was just doing it because it tasted good.
Yeah. I had that problem sometimes. So what would always happen to me is I'd force myself under the threshold just a little bit, but eventually, like, after a few days, I would snap back and be like, I am famished. And I think some of the stuff that Rebecca has talked to me about has helped me identify the problems I have determining when I am full. So I've done some work to try to isolate that. And I think I've discovered that I'm full about 50% through what I want to eat most of the time. And also, if I just don't eat to try to see how hungry I can get, I will get very dizzy very fast, and then I just need to eat. So I'm narrowing that gap. So somewhere in between those 2 points is where I get full, and I haven't found it yet. I'm working on it. I'll figure it out. The full spectrum.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I do feel like we should put some sort of a content warning of like weight and weight loss, because I know that's a sensitive subject.
I can do that when I post this inevitable episode. I will say though, I have asthma, which is another reason that saying I'm muscular feels funny. But I'm an asthmatic lad, and so for me, trying to exercise in cold weather is rough. So basically, I put a hard limit on it. If it's under 60 degrees outside Fahrenheit, I don't exercise. Last week, since last summer, Apple has added a whole running thing to the watch, to the Fitness Plus thing.
Nice.
And so last year, I remember I was touting like, I can run a mile. Bitch, this time I ran 2 uninterrupted miles right off the rip. Hey. First run of the year. And then I ran another mile right after that.
That's incredible.
So I'm feeling pretty good about that, but it is chilly today, so I'm not doing it. Instead, I just jumped around on the carpet. Nice.
Carpet jumping sounds great.
Pretty stoked about that. Feels good.
I'm just trying to get. There's a cop that pulled somebody over, and so I'm just trying to get over. And everybody just keeps on doing the thing where they zoom around, and I'm just stuck now. So now
no!
Under the speed limit in the left lane.
Laura, I think you're a cop now.
Is that how that works?
This is certainly not the cultural climate in which you want to be a cop. So I'm sorry that it happened like this, but at least we have audio evidence that it was an accident the way it happened.
Yeah, that's true. So okay. In news that I feel like we should talk about as like is kind of the point of the podcast. Part of the reason that we were not able to record is that my mom had surgery last week, and I spent 4 days, 3.5 days, 4 days, 3 nights, whatever it was, taking care of her with Eleanor. And it was a whole lot.
I knew you were there with Eleanor. I did not totally know why. So that sounds, hit me with all the details you feel like sharing, because I do not know about this.
So it went really well. My mom is a retired professional violinist, so that's very difficult on the shoulder area.
Yep.
And she's also like extremely determined to just continue to live life as if she's in her 20s, even though she's in her 70s.
I will say you are also experiencing difficulty in the shoulder area if you're still behind that cop car. But continue.
Wow, that was actually really good.
Thank you.
Proud of you for that one.
Thank you. I've been watching a lot of Frasier.
That's fantastic. That's great. Anyway, long story short, she like fell a little while ago, and I think I've told you this. She fell and broke her ankle right before Christmas.
Oof,
and I think that did something to her shoulder. And then like she said, she like reached over on her bedside table and just like felt something kind of pop in a way that wasn't great. And she ended up needing to get rotator cuff surgery. So her surgeon was like, okay, rotator cuff surgery for sure. She got a second opinion that was, well, you have some osteoporosis in the bone, and it looks like there's 2 out of the 4 tendons are completely disconnected, and there's a pretty big tear. So there's a really high risk of complications. So either we can do this and it might fail, or you can wait and potentially have to just get a shoulder replacement in the future. Or not potentially, like definitely get a shoulder replacement.
Yeah.
So she had to kind of figure out which one she wanted to do. And she ended up going with the rotator cuff surgery. And I'm so glad that she did it with this surgeon that she had, because he was incredible. He went in there. The surgery went so smoothly. It was like less time than they were expecting it. And by day 3, she was already like post-op. She was already starting to be able to skip pain medication, which is fantastic. So like, you know, it's uncomfortable, but she's not in pain, which is really great. She's, you know, had her appointment and is, you know, saying that everything looked really good and he's very pleased and everything. So, but to be, you know, a good and loving and helpful daughter, I went through the process of opening an intermittent leave at work so that I could help like go down every so often and you know, make things a little easier, help her with her medications, do that stuff. So that's why I was out for the first couple of days. I am taking advantage of that intermittent leave to go down to my parents right now. And Eleanor is at my house with Maria, and so I'm childless in a vehicle by myself.
Hell yeah! I was about to ask, because we've been on the phone about one work's commute worth, and I am not paying you for that. So I was like, what's going on here? That's very cool.
Yeah, I mean, my parents' house.
I'm very glad that everything worked out and went so freaking smoothly. But boy, howdy, 4 days taking care of an older person and a younger person sounds exhausting.
So I came home on Saturday and I opened the door to my car and Charles was there, and I was like, I just need to not. He was like, what do you want to do tonight? And I was like, nothing. And he was like, no, like, what do you want to like watch or anything? I was like, I don't think you understand me. I'm going to lie on the couch and I'm going to sit there until I go to bed. And you are going to make every single decision. We are going to order food tonight, and we are not going to think about anything.
Yes. Yep.
And he was like, oh.
Yep.
I was seriously, like, I am still recovering from the amount of exhaustion that I was. It was insane. And so we were going to record on the way back. Originally, we were going to record on the way there, but then you had work stuff.
Yeah.
So we were going to record on the way back, but I was like, you know, totally zonked.
Yeah,
and
man.
then Ellie didn't nap. And so I was hoping she would fall asleep in the car. And like, it was just, I felt like just a shell.
Yeah, it's been a minute since I've had anything that got me even close to that. And frankly, I don't know if I've ever had anything close to taking care of 2 vastly different sets of needs like that. So it was
a lot, man.
I can't imagine the level of exhaustion that you're dealing with there.
I think the hardest part about it was that, like, my parents did their best to set up their house to be toddler proof, but like, it's not, right?
Yeah.
And it's not our home, and there's a lot more stairs that I, until last weekend, completely took for granted that we have a door that closes
for the
to
stairs.
The upstairs.
Yeah. That struck me as strange when I was there, but I was like, man, that's a load off. That's one thing I don't have to care about.
It's the best.
Yeah. No, it's very good.
It's so good. Because, like, even if she wants to go upstairs, like, it's easier to distract her if she can't see them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she knows they're there and she knows that she wants to go up them. But if there's stairs that she just has access to, and, like, I tried to put, some people might be listening to me like, why didn't you just put a baby gate there? I did, but you can't put a baby gate at the very bottom because there's like a 3-stair situation and then a small landing, and then the stairs turn and continue to go up. And so the only place you can really put it is at the top of the 3-stair situation.
3 stairs is still enough for a baby to...
And I did that, and then guess how many times she fell in one day? I think it was 3.
1 per stair.
And I like couldn't, I couldn't like, and it was fucking... Holy shit. And like every time Eleanor started like getting really antsy or wanting to do something or pranky or whatever, my mom would just be like, oh, just like 1 second. Could you just like do all of the things right now? And I was like, if you'd said that 5 minutes ago, everything would be fine right now.
All right. Now, we've talked a lot about how we have to deal with, work stuff and now difficult family stuff. So I have an important question. This sounds like it took a big toll on you, balancing work with these other responsibilities. If you could sever yourself to reduce the impact on your life and mental well-being, what would you do?
I would not sever myself because one of the things I rely on at work very much is the ability to, during times of either great stress or great boredom, look at videos of my daughter. And also, she started pooping into her potty yesterday. Now she's done it 2 days in a row, and it's very exciting.
That sounds incredibly exciting. I just had to clean Odo's butt, so I feel like you're going forward and I'm going backwards. And I'm pretty jealous of you right now. That's fan-fucking-tastic.
Yeah. I mean, you could train Odo to poop in a toilet. I feel like that's a thing people do with cats.
Well, here's the thing. He already basically does. I got a $500 cat toilet for him. And he's still like, nah, I'm going to put it all over my butt.
Well,
but
he doesn't exactly have hands to wipe himself off with.
Exactly. He's become fat enough that he just lacks the flexibility. But man, was Severance good. That is... Oh, my God. It is... It's been a minute since I've seen a show that was just that roundly fantastic. As we were watching the finale...
The closest I can come to, like, describing the type of phenomenon, not the show itself, it really felt like Lost, when, like, everybody was waiting a week in between episodes, and, like, the theory crafting and the online conversations and the incredible community of people that were just so excited and so insightful. That's what this was like. And Charles just started it last night.
Ooh,
and I
nice.
stayed up late to watch the episode with him because I was like, oh my God, it's finally happening.
No, it's extremely good. We're not going to spoil anything here, but it's on Apple TV Plus. If anybody listening hasn't watched it, it's so good. It is thrilling. It is upsetting deeply in a lot of ways. As someone who's, I think I've said this on this show before. I can't believe Apple is the company that made this complete assault on the corporate treatment of individuals. It blows my mind that such a large company was like, nothing wrong here. Let's do it. Let's release a show about encouraging unionization efforts as we actively try to shut them down in every single store across the country. Fucking shout out to the stores that are pulling it off.
There's a store, I can't remember where it is. I was just reading about it yesterday that
just filed. Allegedly.
Where were they?
I don't remember. I know that Grand Central is also apparently talking about it.
Grand Central is working on it, yeah.
No national reporting when my store was doing it, but okay.
No, it was before it was cool, Colin.
Yeah. No, we were led by our friend Devin, so of course it was hipstery and before anyone else thought it was cool. But yeah, Severance, phenomenal. I think honestly, the last time I saw a show that like didn't feel like it had a gimmick or that I had like a bias toward, that just felt like this stands on its own as just like really compelling, interesting television. Was, I think, another Apple show, which is For All Mankind, which I've talked about here before. The last season of that. I
still haven't started it.
Season 1's a little sluggish. Season 2 is I don't think it hits the highs of Severance, but it is that same like, this is just nonstop. Every episode is fantastic, and I care about everything that's happening.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah, Severance succeeds at every single thing it tries to do.
And it's just one of those incredibly well crafted shows, which is something that I don't generally think about that often, but I couldn't stop thinking about it every time I watch an episode. Like everything about it, the camera work and the design of the set and the costuming and the music, like all of it was just top notch.
Yeah, there was nothing
that nothing came across as like being less good than anything else. Like the acting was incredible.
Yeah,
the script was amazing. I mean, it's just the whole thing is
it's very good. I will say that related to other TV shows I'm watching and not doing everything the way they're supposed to. I recently the reason I had to cancel on the recording is because I got a very quick turnaround on another edit for our friends at The Greatest Discovery.
I heard your voice the other day, and it was so lovely.
It was weird to hear my voice on on a Maximum Fun podcast, right? It's so strange.
It's great. I love it.
It was very fun. I tend to go a little further in crafting it. They frequently give me very positive feedback for the amount of like effort and creativity I put into these things instead of just dropping like a little reference here or there. Like I try to build the edits, particularly the way that I put audio clips after transitions. Adam was like, I would not have thought of doing that, which is strange because I pulled that idea from one of his edits. I just sort of built upon it, but so by and large that went over pretty well, except for one thing. There was one thing I did that did not go over great, and I told you about it briefly, but here's so since you heard my voice at the end, I'm guessing you listened to the whole episode. I hope you enjoyed it.
I did.
In the original edit, when Ben and Adam are discussing Captain Picard basically jerking off to archaeology porn is essentially the gist of the joke. I was like, oh, I know a scene in Next Gen where he's talking about archaeology. I'll just put some gross sounds over that and it'll be funny. And it made me laugh so much that I did it multiple times. So essentially, there are just sounds, and this audio exists, and I'm not putting it out anywhere, but this audio exists of just jerk off sounds, pretty cartoonishly explicit, over Picard really fawning over archaeology stuff. And I believe the note I got on that, I got two notes from it, were too gross for me and the masturbation sounds have to go. Everything else was glowing, but I got hit with those two notes. And I hope this isn't telling tales out of school or anything. This is the notes process. This is what's supposed to happen. Like, they're supposed to hit me back with things that I need to improve upon. And here's the thing. On my second pass, when I was listening through it, I was like, okay, I laughed really hard the first time, but this is kind of... It's not as funny for me on the second time. So I prepared an alternate version of this where instead of a splat sound, there was a photon torpedo launching sound. I was like, make it a little more Star Trek. And I called this the PG-13 version. When I actually emailed the producer about the show, about this, I was like, hey, there's a sound in there that's pretty rude. I have a PG-13 version in case you guys don't like it. And the response was, yeah, the PG-13 version's not going to work either. And I was like, okay. What that turned into, for your reference, is in the show, it now sounds like Picard is clicking around on a laptop listening to porn. And I think that was a little more creative and goofy and less explicit. And ultimately, whether or not it lands, I think that's a better vibe than what I did before. But like, I sent that stuff off being like, am I going to totally embarrass myself out of like them not wanting to work with me because I'm gross? And when all three of them hit me back with like, this is too gross, this has got to go, even the kiddie version is bad, I was like, I just laughed. I just sat there laughing at myself, brainstorming alternate things to do. But that was awesome. Ultimately, I think it came out pretty well. I think it's pretty fun. And man, I got to watch the episode early, which was about 2 weeks ago now, which on one hand was very cool. There was one upside and two downsides to this. When they gave me the link to the screener, I went to go view it, and then I started, I watched it the first time, took notes, tried to prepare what I would do, and then I watched it again right before I got the edit, so that I could, pull audio clips and stuff like that. That's the upside. It was nice to see it early, nice to have that access. Two big downsides. One, had to wait 2 weeks to see a new episode of Star Trek Picard.
That's why I texted you this Thursday. I was like, happy new Picard Day.
Yeah, no, it felt great watching the new episode yesterday. But 2 is I could see the screener links for the next 2 episodes right there. But it does count how many times you watch them. And I was just like, I would get in so much trouble. I could get them in so much trouble. It never crossed my mind that I would ever actually do it. Not for a second did I entertain the thought of watching these screeners that I wasn't supposed to watch. Did not ever seriously consider it. But they're sitting right there.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh man. I just put my new Star Trek out by a whole week and now I can see them. So that was I don't know. I had such a high of working on the edit because I had such a fun time with it. And then I'm just like, oh shit, well now what?
Yeah.
But overall.
It was a good episode though, and it was fun. I have to say, I don't know if I'm really enjoying the season of Star Trek Picard that much.
Oh.
Like none of it is really sticking to my brain.
Oh.
Like I watch it and then like it's just gone. I'm
having a very good time with it. I think that this is a lot of new Star Trek has to be referential to old stuff, but this is like so jam-packed full of shit, but doesn't feel like a pandering trip down memory lane. I'm very struck by that balance. They have their few overt like Star Trek 4 references, but otherwise it feels very much on its own and building new stories. However, I also feel like it's the first time in a while that Star Trek has like done what Star Trek does and made me feel good about the terrible things in the world.
Right.
I don't think it's like, I think it's building towards a conclusion, but in the most recent episode, they fully cast Brent Spiner's new character as just an incel. And I'm like, oh, that's fucking great. Star Trek is dunking on incels, which I fucking love. But I find, I don't know, I think I'm having the opposite take on this. This is one of my favorite seasons of Star Trek ever so far.
Wow.
Just like, I think that it is doing social commentary better than season 1 of this show. I think that it is restraining itself and discussing sensitive things better than Discovery does, where Discovery goes like whole hog on like, let's talk about how sad everyone is. And Picard, well, maybe that's just me not jiving with the idealized future where everybody can be that honest. I don't know. But I think Picard is a little, wow, I really hit the R on that. Picard.
You really did, yeah. I thought maybe the audio glitched and then and then you were like, no, dude.
Yeah, I think this season is I think, restrained is the word. It is trying to tackle a lot of things, but it's doing them all in ways that feel thoughtful and not forced to the point where I think because you're not getting that next gen, the whole episode builds to this one moral lesson hit every episode, but rather it's just the whole thing is literally a condemnation of where we are right now. But as the season grows to a close, it feels like it's getting closer and closer to saying, here's how we fix it. Yeah. Which is what good Star Trek does. And these last couple episodes have given me a taste of that. Beyond all that, I really enjoy the Borg story happening. A lot of my early episode 1 predictions seem to be coming true. And I'm having a blast. It is. So,
there are definitely good things about it. Don't get me wrong. It's not that I'm not enjoying the season. It's that, like, it's just not...
Yeah, I get that.
...memorable to me in a way. And I think part of it might be because it feels very disjointed. Like, if they're going to tell a story arc, it feels like we're just... Every episode, we're jumping around so much.
Yeah. This is honestly what I expected from Discovery initially, is this is what a lot of modern serialized storytelling is. Like, Severance does this too, to a lesser degree. Severance is a much more streamlined show, but like, each episode is not about telling a single story. It's about advancing the overall story.
Right.
It's about taking all the pieces on the board and putting them in a different spot by the end of it. And Picard is doing that. But to quote Adam in that episode of Next Gen, it is weird to see this thing that we know from so long ago crammed through the Play-Doh machine of modern television conventions.
I was thinking about that when they were talking about that, and I was like, oh, that's what's feeling strange to me this season.
Yeah, and it's like, I think this is one of those things where if it wasn't Star Trek, it wouldn't bump as much, but it is Star Trek, so it does.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is how they pitched Picard, is that it would be I gotta change the way I say this fucking name. I'm getting real self-conscious about it. Picard.
Oh, Picard.
I got Irma Picard. I'm getting big O'Brien vibes. Even he said it not like that, but I don't know. This was the initial pitch for the show, and I'm fully on board with it. I think that it is stronger than season 1 in pretty much every way. Yeah. I also think now that we have the announcement that it's season 3, the final season is going to be a full-on TNG reunion.
Yeah. I am interested to see how they get there.
That's what I'm thinking. And I have a prediction. I have 2 predictions about season 3 of Picard that I want to hit you with. 1, I don't think all the characters are going to make it out of this season in one way or another. And this crew was assembled so that he wouldn't have to rely on his TNG buddies. Right. But once this crew is in trouble, who's he going to go to? His TNG buddies. That's one prediction I have. The other, Will Wheaton, is not listed as part of season 3.
You did tell me that he's looking like he's buffing up, though.
He is, because recently, like, Jonathan Frakes is almost 70. And he, like, when he was in season 1 of Picard, he was like, I don't know, like a lot of 70-year-olds. He is not as thin as he was when he was younger. He had a bit of a gut. And he was just like this. He had this big, long beard. And looks
he's very jolly.
He's very jolly. Seemed like the happiest dude everywhere he goes. Everybody loves him. And then, like, he shows up for an interview one day on the Ready Room after show, and suddenly his beard is shorter, and he's like way thinner, like early TNG thin. Yeah. And I'm like, huh, interesting. I mean, like, normally you do that for a job. I don't know many people deciding to overhaul their fitness things like you and I in, their 60s, 70s. He could, fantastic. But then they announced that he's in it again, and we saw a little clip of him in it with the shorter beard and the thinner face. And I'm like, oh, so that's why he did it. Yeah. And now I'm noticing Will Wheaton has also lost quite a bit of weight over the last year or two. Again, could be totally unrelated, but I think Will Wheaton will appear in season 3 of Star Trek Picard. That was a long explanation for something that is not very dramatic to say.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah.
Nice.
Dude, it's really good to just chat about shit with you.
Oh my God. I know. And like, part of me, I was really disappointed to skip our recording. It would not have been this lively.
Yeah. No, I think that was the right call. And for me, like that morning, also fun fact, I've been doing some video work for the art company that I work with. And like basic part of the reason I had to cancel was that morning, like my day job was blowing up. I got the turnover from Greatest Discovery, and then I had like a new request for an art project come through. And I was like, this is not the morning where I can just talk for an hour. I can't do it. But today, I'm picking up some overtime tomorrow, so I'm just going to do my chores and have tomorrow be a productive day. And today, Laura, I'm going to loaf. I'm going to loaf so much.
I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, no, it's that day. I'm not going to cook. I'm not going to clean. I worked out. I'm talking to you, and that's it. I'm throwing out messages to my friends saying, hey, if you want to play games, hit me up. Otherwise, I'm going to be binging Frasier, eating junk food, and watching and playing Assassin's Creed. That's my day.
Oh, hey, I don't think I even told you about this. So I took your advice. Did I text you about this? I don't remember. Ooh. I took your advice about a video game situation, which was I was complete with I finished Ori. And I'm feeling like the Ori hole in my soul because it's such a good game.
So good, yeah.
And I finally bought and started playing Horizon Zero Dawn on the PS5.
Yeah.
And I took your advice, and I'm playing it on easy.
That's great. Are you having fun with the game?
Yes. But I will say 2 things about it. So far, I think I'm very early in the game. Like, I know it's a really big game, and I'm still only in, like, when I look at my completion rate, it's at, like, 5%, right? So, like, I'm really early in. But it's hard for me to keep playing because every time I play, I have to be like, all right, I need to set aside time for 40 minutes of cutscenes.
Oh, okay.
And, like, so I feel like I'm, like, kind of playing, like, every once in a while, like, I'll play a thing or, like, do something. But then, like, so much of it is, like, the storytelling behind it in a way that I didn't realize was going to bother me so much.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, when you're pressed for time and you're adjusting difficulty to account for time, cutscenes
then it just feels like I'm not really doing anything. Yeah. It
exactly.
kind of feels like I'm just like watching a movie that I should be watching something that's in better quality because like this was made, 10 years ago or whatever. And like, not to say it's not beautiful, but it, you can see like when I turned it on, Charles was like, oh, how's the game? I was like, I can totally see why, Horizon Zero Dawn, whatever the West, I can't remember.
Forbidden West is
Forbidden
the new
West.
one, yeah.
Like I can see why everybody's talking about how great this thing is because it has such a great base. But like it looks dated on a PS5.
Yeah, that's true. It's also going to be running some upscaling. So like it's kind of like playing like classic Sega and Nintendo games today, like if you play them on high def TVs, like they look crisper, but they kind of look worse because they're being rendered and displayed not the way they were meant to. And that's I find that hit. I have the same thing with the Xbox Series X, like running older games on it. I'm like, wow, Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion sure looks crisp and colorful, but I didn't realize that there was like a square centimeter of rock texture for this whole valley. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I'm enjoying it. It's not really it was not what I was hoping it would be yet.
Yeah.
But I am definitely giving it the opportunity to become that.
That's
and I
fair.
think that working from home may help me with that because I will be able to do all of my chores and stuff potentially during the day. And that way after bedtime, I'll actually have a little time, to not have to worry about that. So
yeah, I feel that. I haven't played it yet. I think I'm in line to get a Steam Deck in the next month or two. And I don't plan, if I can get my hands on a PS5, I will. I'm checking, but I'm not pushing for it because I already have next gen Xboxes, so whatever. But the Steam Deck, you can get Horizon on that, and I've also not played the God of War because that was on PlayStation. God of War 2018, that's also on Steam Deck. So you might actually hear from me soon about both of those games if things go the way I want them to. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I'm glad you're at least trying a new game. And I will say, I was playing the newest Assassin's Creed. The last one was my favorite, the Greece one, the one set in Greece, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. But I never finished the DLC because it was such a slog. But I hadn't played it in like 2 years. It was just like enemies were so beefy and had so much health. Even if I like spec'd into high damage output, it just didn't. It felt like nothing. But then in this new Assassin's Creed, there was a reference to the last one that I was like, God, I really do miss that last game.
Yeah.
So I went back and I did the same thing. I cranked the difficulty down, and that way I was just able to sink into the story and the world. And like the fights are still tough, and I still have to build for them, which is crazy considering how I turned it down. But like, it sort of unlocked it for me in a way where like really practicing what I preach. Like, I love Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I think that game kicks ass. I think Valhalla improves on a lot of technical things, but the characters in the world and the Greece and the Greece.
the Greece of it all.
the Greece of it all. It was wonderful, and it's so nice to go back and play it again. And they did update this to like take advantage of the current gen consoles, so it doesn't feel dated. And it came out around the same time as Zero Dawn, I think. A little later, but like it doesn't have that crunchiness that you get when you optimize old things. It feels really nice. So if you're looking for another game, I don't know if it's the one for you, but like similar vein as Horizon with fewer cutscenes, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It's going to be cheap because it's old, but it feels and looks great. Just going to throw that out there.
That's a good thing to know.
You also get to play as like the biggest, hottest, Greekest lesbian you can imagine if you choose to play that way.
All right. I mean,
Cassandra is a fucking awesome character. And when I played as her, fucked every single person in the game she could. Every single one.
That sounds like the perfect place for me to leave you and go get some lunch.
No, I'm going to play that game now. Now I just sound like I'm going to go fucking insert Picard jack-off noises here.
I mean, you've done it before. It sounds like maybe you'll just have to do it again.
Yeah. I'm just going to get a message from you after this like, that masturbation needs to go.
Yeah. I should go. I'm going to pick up some lunch for my parents, but
nice.
It was so nice to talk to you.
Very, very nice. I hope that I will, in fact, talk to you again soon. And I think that will maybe be a little bit more likely if this experience.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, man.
I don't really know what it is yet. I haven't even got my training schedule, and I start on next Monday. So
but even
feeling a little weird about not knowing.
But don't underestimate the fact that being able to complete chores and not have to make commutes, I think, will totally change your relationship to free time, or at least a little bit. I'm very curious to see how it hits you.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to talk to you about it.
Yeah, well, I can't wait to tell you.
Woo!
All right.
Have fun with your parents. Enjoy your day.
Thank you. You too. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Come and meet